Hey folks, and welcome to another Sasoi spikeboarding tutorial demonstration. Today we are in Burlington, Vermont. Vermont spikeboarding, Vermont stand-up spike. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the stand-up spike stroke, one of two strokes in spikeboarding, which you're seeing right here. Stand-up spike is a modified double poling stroke. So the legs are going to stay on the deck. There's three strokes in spikeboarding. Primarily two are used. They're called Kubi cross and stand-up spike. So we're going to do a little stand-up spike straight up the face of Burlington, right on up to the University of Vermont. And that's what we're going to analyze and see right here. And this would be the same as grabbing one pair of roller skis, two skis on each feet, one on each foot rather, two roller skis and two poles, and double poling this little summit. This is a 14-minute event here. This is 14 minutes of load, very small amount of load. And so let's jump right into this as we are saying hi to a fellow working on the roads and admiring the qualities of spikeboarding. He basically said, hey, now that's a great workout. And indeed, he is correct. So cross-country skiing is an amazing workout. Double poling is going to rip your lats and your core and get you very fit. And of course, so is stand-up spiking. And folks, there is a stand-up spike King of Mountain and Queen of Mountain prize. Please make sure to inquire it. There's a nice big fat prize for winners, for men and women, and that prize money's equal, guys. Absolutely equal. So sport needs dedication, of course, like any sport. Buy the gear, practice, qualify for the racing, get invited to stand-up spike races. Be very challenging for you. You'll enjoy it. We'll start to stand-up spike some of the bigger gaps in Vermont as well and film them for you so that you can see it. But we venture to say that what you're seeing here is local sports history. Doubt anyone's jumped on a board and did stand-up spike from the lake straight up to the university. Now, what you're going to see is the skateboard spike missing and slipping in a much higher incidence than normal when we are on pavement with less rock. So the rock mixture in the local roads in Burlington is high, and that's normal for a place that has a lot of snow. And so since the rock ratio to asphalt is higher, it's going to be a little more slipping. And of course also engaging the skateboard spike and getting your carbide to bite into asphalt does require a certain amount of concentration. And when you are directing a small little video and handling the speed and the framing, that of course is going to tax your neurology as well. And so there's a little more slipping happening. These lower slopes, there you go, there's a slip right there. And then you just go straight back to the next one. But slipping and a misinjection can be very disconcerting for the beginner. Very disconcerting. And so a little experience goes a long way when the rock mixture is high in your asphalt. So notice how we're keeping the arms at 90 degrees. And that's very similar to cross-country skiing. You're going to keep your arms at 90 to 120 degrees, and the arms are going to basically serve as a chain on a bicycle to transmit power into the core. Although in stand-up spike climbing, the bicep and tricep are going to get a little more use than on flats. And also there's going to be a little more compression in the legs when you begin to climb. In this particular instance, this 14-minute climb, we're not counting our cadence. We're just keeping it even in a relaxed fashion. And there you go. There's the first little reprieve right there. You can take this straight from the bottom and straight up, we assume. We're aiming to get over to cliff and summit that. The day previous to this, we had summited it somebody to clean. We'll have a little step off on the board. You'll see that. That again has to do with not being able to fully concentrate because of being filmed and so on and so forth. But when you begin to spike, you'll notice how staying on the board is actually a little bit of a challenge. It's a good challenge, and it's all about focus and being comfortable with the steering mechanism and remaining calm when the going gets tough and demanding. But of course, when we begin to race elite, minor step-offs will be point infractions, and that'll be a lot of fun, especially when two athletes are head-to-head, and one might casually take a little step off and then be assigned a time penalty. Those two athletes would then be uneven. One would be leading by the time bonus or time penalty, whichever the case might be. And then, of course, that brings in the same dynamic as you see in cycling with GC contention and things of that kind. So weren't exactly sure about our route completely, but it really doesn't matter. You can sort of steeplechase this thing one uphill at a time, one block at a time, or you can take it straight on. We'll make another video and find a direct route that goes straight from the Lake Champlain, straight to the top of UVM campus. But here we're sort of crisscrossing just a little bit. And here comes, I believe this is Maple, possibly. And it's the first steep ascent here, where it gets rather steep. But not so steep that the bicycle rider will need to dismount. So cliff will be so steep that the rider can't hold that slow a speed unless they know how to do a track stand. And that's not the case in this particular situation. So the rider's going to dismount, and then you'll see a leg flip over, and then you'll see the stand-up spike athlete really dig in to get this summit. Again, we're way past the half-point mark of this trajectory. It's 14 minutes of load, folks. It's very, very small amount of load, tiny amounts of load. Most of our stand-up spikes have all been under 90 minutes, and that's even a small amount of load. 90 minutes is a very small load time when you consider that American marathons tend to average for citizens 4.5 hours, 3.5 hours, 5.5 hours. So Americans just aren't accustomed to seeing human propulsion on land using the upper body, but they are in Vermont and they are in Burlington. We've never been to a city or a location or a region that understood what roller skiing was as much as the general population of Burlington, Vermont. I would say 90% of everyone that we've spoken to has seen, understands, comprehends, and is accustomed to seeing Nordic cross-country roller skiing in their environment, and this is no different. So as you can see, this steep climb isn't that steep that it's causing too much duress in this athlete. And again, this can be double poled, and as a matter of fact, we'll probably get out and do a little double polling here, and then do some editing and put both strokes side to side. But go ahead and look into our videos, or you can Google double pole versus stand-up spike, and you'll see this same athlete executing stand-up spike and double pole up significant climbs in these good United States. So in New York as well as in Golden, Colorado, on Bear Mountain and Lookout Mountain. So there's two videos that clearly demonstrate stand-up spike and double pole side by side. So have a little peek at that skateboard spike. That top handle is pretty unique, and it allows for the proper execution of stand-up spike. So here we go, up cliff. This is going to be a little bit of a dig, but not too bad. Try not to look up when you begin to stand up spike. Don't look up for too long. Just stay calm and relax and understand load times and focus more on time. There goes a cycle rider off the bike. It's too steep to hold this slow a speed for him. At this point, he's walking and holding the bicycle as the athlete comes up. So there's a little direction going on between the athlete and the bike on speed and so on and so forth, and that is going to cause this tiny little dismount here. And folks, right here we aren't was an expert rider, you're not, there's the dismount, and that would be a time bonus for an opponent, and a penalty for this athlete, whether it be 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. That is yet to be determined, but that, of course, is the case. You got to stay on your board, or there will be time penalties. So we're actually looking for a tech company that could monitor all kinetic activity for spikeboarding with a simple wrist or ankle bracelet. And because when racing gets up to field size, that will be difficult to judge by officials. So one tiny little spike at a time. Notice how those elbows are really coming down into a diamond shaped formation. When we start to climb, that is when the square becomes a diamond. And yes, a little more arm action begins to take hold, but still, it's all about core, and it's all about back, and it's all about keeping your breathing steady and climbing exactly as you would keep your head straight when you're cycling or sky running. Keep your head straight. Don't blow up. Climb at your own speed. Don't ever climb at the speed of anyone left or right of you. You may blow up. So you may blow up, you will blow up. Now, if you can't hold a 4-minute mile on a marathon, then there goes the cycle back on. This is starting to flat out. Then you're going to have to hold 4:15. Don't try to hold what you can't hold, especially uphill. So this is flattened out. The most challenging part of it's over. From time to time, there's this Lake Champlain. Is that gorgeous? What, Adirondacks in the back. And this is stand-up spike at its very best locally in a small city, the largest city in Vermont, in the United States. So lots of small towns like this with little climbs, and a very exciting sport to participate in is stand-up spike. Up little lumps, stand up mountains, stand up mountains. It's delicious, and you stand up one and makes you feel like a new person. And what's a new person need? First thing a new person needs, stand up another mountain. Every time you stand up a lump, boy, do you feel good. And that's the case, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Spike hard, spike often, stand up, spike core out your door. Spikeboarding, the sport of balanced strength. Thanks, folks. See you at the next one.